And I kind of looked at this, and it seems like their orders are to protect one building. So they sent an infantry battalion to protect one building. Okay. 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines is stationed in Marine Corps Base 29 Palms, California. This base is the joke base in the Marine Corps. Everyone hates it. It's hot. It's in the middle of nowhere in the Mojave Desert. There's tarantulas everywhere. There's nothing to do there. But there's a Taco Bell there. Once in the middle of a training exercise, I was on an LAV crew heading back to our base camp at 29 Palms. And we really wanted Taco Bell. So we made an impulse decision to pull our 28,000-pound LAV into the parking lot of that Taco Bell. And then we sent one of our guys in to get tacos as fast as he could and get out of there. I guess we thought no one would notice. Anyway, we got away with it, and I have no idea how. I hope there's a statute of limitations on that. I tell you this because I want you to see these guys as human beings, not as symbols for fascism. We do. They're people, right?
Yeah.
These are people who have been ordered into an impossible moral and legal position, and I'm pretty sure most of them know that.
Yeah.
I'm also quite sure that a significant portion of them, maybe most of them, want absolutely nothing to do with this shit show. So, with the military deployed in Los Angeles in the stupidest way possible, I think it's time we had a little chat about the fog of war. We, all of us, are living under the fog of war right now. That doesn't mean we're at war. What it means is that we together are experiencing a mass psychological phenomenon that is very similar to actually being in war. I spent a year in the upper Sangin Valley of Afghanistan, and I spent my time there as a signals intelligence operator. So maybe it's just that I've lived it. Maybe it's because I'm trained in intelligence, but I know this when I see it. And it is here. The fog of war is basically this. Everything, every minute of every day feels like life or death. We are saturated with conflicting information, mixed signals, catastrophes popping up and down in a day. Noise, 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 everywhere noise. It never stops, it never slows down. My God, the noise. The problem is, now we're in a fog. We don't know who to trust. We think we know the enemy, but then our own people kind of let us down sometimes. They misfire, they forget stuff. One time I had a water tank delivered that used to be a gas tank. And so we were just drinking diesel, right? It was a mistake, right? Obviously we were pissed, but that wasn't the enemy. That was a mistake. But it's hard to tell the difference when you're that hot, okay? So, the net effect is the fog, which amounts to a decision-making paralysis, where we don't know what to do, or we make stupid decisions based on incomplete information, a misreading of the reality of the situation, or, and here's the kicker, the sheer emotional weight of the moment. Trump and his media and political machine, given their abdication of decency and constitutional values, are very skilled at creating this fog. It might be the only thing they're actually good at. And it gives them a huge advantage in many ways, as we are constantly on the back foot, reacting to the outrage of the moment. So what do? How do we see clearly through the moral and political haze that's this thick? Well, this is a start. But it's only a start. It's not easy. There are things you can do to mitigate this effect. First, recognize the traps they are setting. If they do something outrageous and we react with the same unhinged energy, we look like them. And we legitimize their illegitimate actions. We cannot take the bait. We do not want to do what they want. It just adds to the fog and it legitimizes them. The deployment of Marines from 2-7 is one such obvious trap. Second, take a minute and really look at the situation. Look at your adversary's strengths and weaknesses and your own before you formulate a strategy or a response. Our adversaries are very good at creating the conditions of the fog of war. Moral confusion, disorientation, evoking emotional and strategic responses. So, what are they bad at? Pretty much everything else. Look at Los Angeles. They saw some genuine disorder, I'll cop to that crossed the line and spread over a few blocks. And then they ordered a full infantry battalion of Marines to a different place, along with 2,000 National Guard troops. That doesn't look strong. It looks weak. It looks amateur. And it is so obviously meant to start a fire and not prevent it. Look, it doesn't matter how much product you put in your hair, Pete. Everyone knows you're full of shit. Okay? One guy waving a flag on top of a burning car does not meet the criteria of an invasion. Here's another example. The rate of court decisions that went against the Federal Department of Justice in May was 96%. Pam, I think you might suck at this. And never, ever forget that this administration actually levied retaliatory tariffs under the pretext of a trade deficit with an island full of penguins. That happened, guys.
Think of the penguins!
So this obviously impulse-driven incompetence is their greatest weakness and the opening to our most important strategy. The United States federal government is bleeding credibility. I literally don't have time right now to list their obvious public humiliating failures. So what do? They overreact and flex to hide the fact. Like amateurs, like flailing failed leaders who absolutely know that nobody, including them, believes the shit that's coming out of their mouths. So here we are. Our would-be king and his little lords and ladies are toddlers with flamethrowers. That's our opposition, toddlers with flamethrowers. I'll admit, facing down a bunch of toddlers with flamethrowers is not ideal. The flamethrower part is bad, really bad. They're breaking stuff and hurting people. That's real. That's going to continue. We have to respond to that strategically, resisting where we can and helping to rebuild and heal where they leave scorched earth. It's not great, but it's where we are. The toddler part, however, knowing your adversary has literally no impulse control, knowing they have the attention span of fruit flies, knowing that their only real weapon is just screaming lies 24/7. There are real strategic advantages to that. And in my view, we have to organize along the lines of their weakness. Our weapon is credibility. We will not react the way they act. That is a trap. This nationwide protest organized today, the one that absolutely dwarfs Trump's stupid little vanity parade, that's what I'm talking about. if we take the bait, if this movement turns into an actual insurgency, we lose everything. I can tell you from the Sangin Valley. My friends who fought in Iraq can tell you. My brothers from Vietnam can tell you. No one wins an insurgency. Everyone loses, and the losers lose everything. Do not go down that road. But this is not just when they go low, we go high. Our job is essentially to reweave the social fabric, to look out for each other. We have to say that when they say everyone is evil, we look for the good. When they cut SNAP, we get into our churches and charities and we make sure our people are fed. When they cut Medicaid, we look out for each other and make sure that sick children and elderly people are taken care of. So, what do? Pastors, parishioners, you're up. When they come to torch our education system, we get in there and fix it. Teachers, you're up. When they try and torch the rule of law, we meet them in court and kick their ass. Lawyers, you're up. Judges, you're up. Doctors, nurses, EMTs, neighbors, Augusta, Maine, America, you are up. The motto of the United States Marine Corps is Semper Fidelis, a Latin phrase that means always faithful. Stay faithful to this, to each other, to this country, to everything we hold dear. Thank you.